leaves her body in the desert.
The hunt for Brian Laundrie continues. The Petito family attorney says they do not expect his parents are going to help. By now, Brian could be anywhere, and he could look like anyone. This is what Brian may look like if he grew out a full beard. Or he could be obscuring his face with a hat. Or he could be sporting a wig. We know that other fugitives do this. Do you remember Scott Peterson? This is how he attempted to change his appearance while on the run after the murder of his pregnant wife, Lacey, and their unborn son, Connor. Look at that difference right there. Welcome to the panel. Michael Street, facial ID expert and retired police sergeant investigator. Welcome tonight. The reason we show those pictures is we want people to realize that somebody on the run is going to change their appearance quite possibly because they don't want anyone to find them. What are the challenges of finding someone like a Brian Laundrie?
I think sometimes the problem is that people are too literal. They're actually looking for that person. Now, I have to tell you that oftentimes these folks are hiding in plain sight. They disguise themselves because they don't go very far. And if they do, maybe they have to disguise themselves less because they'll go to a place where people don't recognize them. And I don't think people are very good about disguising themselves, as we've seen with Scott Peterson and some of the others out there.
Right, exactly. You know, Elizabeth Smart is another example. She was held captive for 9 months. And when she was found, she was forced to wear, I think we have a picture, a disguise, a wig, sunglasses, a veil. And it worked for a while, but she was forced to camp and to travel all over the country. And then finally, people actually recognized Brian David Mitchell, and then law enforcement recognized her eyes. What does it take? I mean, could this be a route for Brian to wear these disguises? And if so, could it take much longer to find him?
Not necessarily. I think the shortest route to finding him would be to get, at least in my opinion, to get cooperation from family and friends. Short term, I think that having a good disguise takes an awful lot of planning. It takes an awful lot of time. For example, in his case, I was looking at his picture today. He has a very distinctive jawline, a very sharp chin. It's going to take a full beard, several days, several weeks of growth to really disguise that face of his. And then you've got, you know, his ears. His ears are very distinctive as well. So he might want to grow his hair out long. So he's going to be in hiding much longer. And the more pressure law enforcement is able to put on, it may force him to make that mistake that causes him to come out of hiding.
Good point. So what should people, that is something, because people need to look for things that aren't going to change, right? Because he can change his appearance or put something else on, but there's things that just don't change. You mentioned his ears. What do you note about his ears?
Depending on how you interpret it, in my opinion, they could either be characterized as devil's ears or elf ears. They're very sharp on top. They have no lobes. And again, it would take a lot of plastic surgery probably to fix those. And at the same time, again, there are other aspects. The eyes are a great thing, regardless of how many, how much you disguise yourself. I do facial composites of people all the time that wear masks that try to hide their appearance, but they can't block their eyes. There's not much you can change about your expression and the way your eyes are held every day, not to mention the way you stand, the way you walk. Other personal affects and such go along with trying to disguise yourself. It's almost like a do-over, and it takes a lot of time.